Welcome back, everyone, to the Stock Market Summary Series. After yesterday's really strong bullish push, new highs and all that, you might have expected more fireworks today. But actually, Wall Street took a pretty significant breather.
Yeah, it was noticeably quieter.
Definitely. And, on the surface, it just looks like a pause, right?
Yeah.
But underneath, there are some key technical patterns taking shape. We're seeing interesting stuff in stocks like Apple and even in gold. These patterns, they're not just noise. They could be hinting at some potential breakouts down the line. So understanding why this consolidation is happening now and how it fits the bigger picture, well, that's what we're going to unpack. So stick around. And hey, listen, if you find these daily summaries helpful, do us a favor and hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us out a lot. And click subscribe so you don't miss these updates. You can always unsubscribe later if you change your mind. And just the usual reminder, this is all general market commentary, trading education, definitely not specific advice on buying or selling anything.
That's right. And what's interesting, like you said, is even on a quiet day, the market's still, telling a story, laying groundwork. So the S&P 500, it finished basically flat today. It feels like the market's asking itself, okay, does this recent run have legs, or are we due for a pullback? It's a critical point.
Absolutely. And the Dow, it slipped about, 0.44%, pulled back a bit from that strength near the 20-day moving average we highlighted.
Oh, that short-term momentum gauge.
Exactly. And the NASDAQ, it was down just 0.1%, pretty minor. But the weekly chart, it actually negated last week's doji candle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that little signal of indecision, maybe a reversal, it didn't really play out as we speculated it might.
Right. And connecting that to the broader market, the Russell 2000, the small caps index, IWM, it dropped 0.71% today, but it's still holding up pretty well. Closed above its 50-week moving average again. That's 3 weeks in a row now?
Wow, 3 weeks. That 50-week is a big one for the long-term trend, right?
Exactly. Sure. So seeing it hold there, that signals some underlying strength in small caps. Could be good for overall market health, risk appetite.
And speaking of patterns, we've been keeping an eye on Futu Holdings, FUTU.
Ah, yes, the ascending triangle.
Textbook setup on the weekly chart there, yeah. Classic bullish continuation. And then Apple, AAPL. We're watching a very, very tight, hourly symmetrical triangle forming. Price is just converging into this narrow point. It suggests it's coiled up, ready for a decisive move. Probably before its earnings next week, I'd guess. And spotting these patterns, understanding what they might mean, knowing how to maybe position yourself, that's really a foundational skill. It's core stuff we dig into deep in on Mentorship program.
Right, those technical insights are so valuable. And speaking of value, we got some fantastic ticker suggestions from you guys, our listeners. Seriously, huge thanks to JoyJoy2222 and Local Guides 8653 for dropping those comments yesterday. We pulled up Nail and TMC because you asked. Now remember, super important. We're just making observations here, looking at the chart, sharing what we see. This is not buying or selling advice.
Yeah. Okay. So for Nail, that's the Direction Daily Home Builders and Supplies Leveraged ETF. We've definitely seen a noticeable uptick in volume lately, which is interesting. But its monthly and weekly trends are still, clearly pointing down. The weekly chart almost kind of looks like a bear flag, which often precedes more downside. But that volume surge is something to note, the daily chart. Just kind of in a holding pattern for now. Then there's TMC, metals company. Yeah, that was an interesting find. This stock made a pretty big move, right? From penny stock territory up above $5. It broke out of some classic bull flag patterns on its daily chart as it climbed. And most recently, the hourly chart broke higher from a symmetrical triangle. It's also kind of notable its daily chart has bounced 3 times now off its 20-day moving average. That's common support level you see in trending stocks. So we'll be watching for some consolidation, maybe below $8. Perhaps it builds another setup, like another triangle or something similar. As traders learn, patience is so key here. Waiting for a really solid, high probability setup before jumping in, that's crucial for managing risk. That's a core principle we hammer home in the Grok Trade mentorship.
Good point. And hey, by the way, guys, if you've got a stock you're watching, or maybe just a question about the markets, drop it in the comments below. We might just cover it in an upcoming episode. We love seeing what you're looking at. But these individual stock moves, they never happen in a vacuum, right? They're always influenced by the bigger economic picture. And today, the economic data was kind of mixed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. The housing data was A bit of a split decision. June's building permits came in slightly below forecast, suggesting maybe a little cooling in new construction plans. But housing starts actually surprised to the upside, beat the forecast. So this mixed bag, it probably kept investors a little cautious, kind of reinforcing that consolidation we saw in the market. However, the preliminary July Michigan consumer sentiment reading, that came in slightly stronger than expected. So consumer confidence seems pretty steady, which, provides an underlying bit of support for the market while it digests these recent gains.
Okay, interesting mix. And moving beyond traditional stocks, what about Bitcoin and the shiny stuff, gold and silver?
Right. So Bitcoin BTC, it saw a slight pullback today, about 1.83%, settling around $170,800. But you got to put that in perspective. Its run over the past weeks has been so powerful. The bullish trend is still very much intact, suggests strong underlying conviction there. Gold, GLD, it ticked up just a little, 0.26%, but it's still locked in this really tight consolidation pattern. What's really compelling, though, are these massive volume spikes we've seen recently. That kind of volume often comes before a significant breakout up or down. So definitely one to watch closely. Silver SLV dipped a tiny bit, 0.12%. It's still just lingering below its last swing high. We're monitoring it, looking for signs of a broader reversal, but it hasn't quite confirmed anything yet. What today's market action really highlights with the consolidation, those tight patterns like in Apple, is just how valuable having a structured approach is. Navigating this kind of indecision, spotting those clear setups like futures ascending triangle, and crucially, managing your risk with discipline consistently. These are all central to what we teach. Our mentorship program, it's not just theory. It's practical coaching, support, making sure you get the skills you need to face the markets with confidence. And we stand by you until you recoup your investment. All right, that's it for this week. We'll catch you guys in next Monday's market summary. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.